We just finished Christmas and are heading into a brand new year. And I'm not a huge Christmas Carol fan. I know some of you might be offended by that. I have some friends that start playing them in October. No judgment, just saying, that's not me. When I do listen to Christmas carols, my favorite one is probably Do You Hear What I Hear? I just think that's beautiful. And I was listening to it on a walk, and I had it on repeat, so I listened to it a few times while I was getting all my steps in. And I realized as I was listening that the answer to the question, do you hear what I hear, is probably no. How often have you walked out of a conversation with someone and then later realized we were in two different conversations? I heard one thing, you heard something else. I thought it was a great conversation. You were pissed by the time we were done. I'd love to take you on a little journey today to pay attention and notice some of the ways your listening gets filtered. These were originally designed by Barbara Fittipaldi. She identified quite a few of them. I'm just going to look at 4 with you today. Now, why is this important? If you are in relationship with people, working with people, speaking to people, which yes, you are, all on a daily basis, it's good to know that sometimes we need to slow down and we need to pay attention and check in. The first filter is assessment. And we are listening through our own assessments. And what that sounds like is, as we're listening in whatever context, we're saying to ourselves in our head, I like that, I don't like that, I disagree, I agree. And if I am listening and I determine that something is wrong or it's bad, the chances that I'm going to continue listening get smaller. Also, the way I'm going to listen is going to change. I might be listening then to start to disprove or to combat in my mind what I'm hearing, so that I miss pieces of data coming my way because I actually haven't heard the whole thing. I've stopped at some point because I've decided this doesn't make sense or this isn't true. The problem with the assessment filter, where it can be mischievous, is it leans us into a state of judgment. All those siftings that I do are judgments. Now, it's not always bad or wrong to judge. However, as I'm listening to another person, if I've pre-decided before I've checked in, before I've asked questions, before I've even gotten curious to make sure I'm actually hearing what it sounds like I'm hearing, my judgment filter will go onto overdrive. And when I'm judging, I'm definitely not listening anymore. I've stopped listening, and that's a problem. Another listening filter is description. Description is similar to assessment. Description is identified by the should or the shouldn't. If you're listening and as someone's talking, as you're watching television, again, whatever it is, and you start to say to yourself, well, this shouldn't be that way. They shouldn't have said that. They shouldn't have done that. They should do this. That's not how a teacher should be. That's not how a student should be. That's not how a politician should be. And we apply them to ourselves also. This isn't how I should be. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said this. The shoulds let you know that there is some perfect world that you are comparing this world to in your mind. There's a perfect version of politician, a perfect version of teacher. There's a perfect version of friend, and that's how they should be. Any departure from that shows up like shouldn't. They shouldn't be that way. Now you'll know if you're in that by your shoulds, and also even if you should to yourself, or as my friends like to say, even if you're shoulding on yourself as you're talking or as you're listening to yourself internally. The shoulds communicate to other people in subtle and not so subtle ways that they are falling short of the perfect version of themselves that you have created in your own mind. When I'm listening to myself through that filter, through those shoulds and shouldn'ts, I'm also experiencing nothing I do is good enough. I can't ever get it right. Nothing is good enough. I'm not enough. Now pay attention. If you find yourself in these conversations or you are hearing from other people, they say to you, hey, nothing I ever do is good enough for you, it could be an indicator that your descriptive filter is on overdrive. You can pause on some of those shoulds and say, is there something else? What else is available here? Apart from how I've already decided this person, this job, this circumstance, this situation should be? And do I have the courage and the space to be with what actually is and to be with who is actually over there? The next filter is the personal filter. And the personal filter sounds like, these are my thoughts and these are my feelings and this is the way that it is. And if I can just convince you of the way that it is from my perspective because of how I see it or how I feel about it, then we'll be on the same page. This personal filter takes our subjectivity and it conflates it with reality, as if the way we see things or the way we feel about things are a reflection of how they actually are categorically versus just how they happen to be for me or how they are for you. And when we listen through that personal filter, it's very, very easy to miss the people that are in front of us because chances are they're not going to see and hear the way that we do. The last one is, I already know. Now that is a conversation. You hear the first part of the sentence, oh, I already know this. I already saw YouTube on this. I already read a book about this. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I know. Sometimes we say that out loud, sometimes just in our head. But when that's happening, we stop listening. Imagine what it would be like if you never learned anything new starting today. That filter pushes us in that direction. When you start listening just for what you've already decided is true, preventing the opportunity for learning, preventing newness, preventing your own character from getting developed or challenged or working out a conversation with someone where, hey, there's some truth over here and maybe this is partly true and maybe this is a little bit. And so that there's a more holistic experience, more data available at the end of the conversation than there was at the beginning of the conversation. Social media can be a great example of this. With our likes, with our dislikes, with what we click and what we don't click, it's very easy to create an inadvertent echo chamber where we're only hearing and seeing things that, quote unquote, we already know. And when that happens, our learning starts to dissipate. It goes down. And if we stop learning, we stop growing. Going back to that Christmas carol, do you hear what I hear? Probably not. Now, you're human, I'm human. I'm not saying this is a problem. I'm just saying it is what it is. It is the way it is. So elevate your awareness, pay attention. Ask yourself, what did I hear? And be willing to challenge what you heard, because what you heard may not be what the other person said. And what they heard may not be what you said. And the way to connect and to create understanding is to slow it down and to find out, did I hear what you said? Did you hear what I said? Because we may not have heard the same thing. And let's take the time to invest in our relationship and tease things apart. I hope that this video provided you with some more resources for your listening. I hope you heard me. And if you enjoyed it, if it was helpful and valuable for you, hit the like button, share it, write a comment. I'd love to connect with you.